any idea how much money we would make if wrestling was good?
Do you have how much all of these podcasters would make if wrestling was good?
If wrestling was good, me and you would be on easy street.
Yeah.
We would be doing what, 4 hours of work a week? Well, that would be.
I saw those mid-roll numbers. I know how many listeners we get and how many listeners we could have gotten. Those mid-roll numbers, dude. Okay. To give people a basic fact, it would not be unheard of if wrestling was in a boom, a real boom, where me and Joey would be pulling easily almost $1 million a year.
Hey, dude, even
Wait, just digest that for a half a second. Joey and I would be making more than $900,000 a year combined. Combined, to be fair, so like $450,000 each. So
that's it.
For doing this show, if wrestling was in a boom through one advertising agency.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I want it to suck.
Right.
Clearly, I want it to suck. I don't want to make shit tons of money off of it being good. I want it to
blow.
Take
the taxes, dude. Even if you took $400,000 out of that shit for taxes, that's still $500,000. That's fine.
I think I can live off that.
What the fuck? No, I can't take the money because you guys want taxes. Fuck that noise,
dude. Even if we made $100,000, like, I don't think people get this. And I'm not even talking about strictly just through the podcast. I'm talking about through the fact that I've been around the fucking indie wrestling for years. I've helped promote shows. I've promoted a show throughout the. Do you know how much money I could make every weekend if indie wrestling shows were still like during the Attitude Era, where 800 people would show up for no fucking reason? Do you know how easy it would be? Do you know how much money I could be making? No, I want it to blow. That sounds awesome. I wouldn't want to be rich off of something I really like.
Yeah.
I instead just want to meander around for the rest of my life watching a shitty wrestling product.
Yeah, we've actually been just doing this for 8 years, going on 9 years, because we really, really hate it.
Nailed it. Yeah, nailed it.
You know, in other news, let's fucking switch it up. Gotta talk about some widows. You know, obviously the first thing, I don't know if I want to go into the series. Yeah. Dana Warrior.
Oh, her Nikki Bella story?
Oh, it gets even better. So
there's something about trophy wives and believing in ghosts. This is really interesting.
She did on her latest edition of the Total Warriors podcast. I don't think I've ever had the chance to listen. She commented on her haunted house that she's currently living in, and says that her late husband, the Ultimate Warrior, shared. She said, "It seemed like darker energies came.
Oh.
There were just smells and rattling and really, really scary stuff."
There's just the Ultimate Warrior ghost eating beef jerky and farting in her living room.
just giving her Dutch ovens every night.
Somebody put on some football.
Put this blanket over your head, honey.
Spooky boo.
This one night, in particular, it was in the middle of the night, and you started hearing these banging noises. I can't even describe it. It was knocking and banging, like whirring past you. I can't even describe them because I've never heard them before. It sounded like furniture flying and crashing into one another, and the girls were wide awake. I was wide awake. There was this unspoken knowledge that you didn't move and didn't speak, and you could feel warrior.
It was actually the ghost of Freddie Mercury. He heard his speech. Showed up and fucked up his living room.
You could feel and you could smell him. You could smell him in the house, and he was fighting and he was battling, and it went on and on and on. And when I woke up in the morning, I expected to see my whole hallway in shambles and there was not a thing out of place, but a sense of triumph. I knew in that moment that whatever had been there bad, he had battled like he never battled before, but he was not going to let anything bad touch his girls.
Oh, he was fighting. Oh, maybe he was fighting angry gay ghosts.
I bet you that
Ghosting doesn't make the world go around, also, just so you know.
I bet you that this is his greatest victory from parts unknown.
Oh, man. Dude, you're not down with ghosts, right? You don't believe in fucking... Do you believe in ghosts?
Dude, I don't know, after the Nikki Bella story about the fucking thermostat, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I consider her a reliable source for all information. I don't know, man. Whenever people get into shit about ghosts, I don't believe it. I don't know. I just don't believe in ghosts.
I don't know. I've gotten spooked a couple times, but I don't believe in that, because then that means that you believe in an afterlife, and I don't believe in an afterlife, so.
No. Do you know what I think is the closest thing, like, as far as when people are like, I feel that there's a spirit in here, or ghosts or whatever. You've obviously owned pets throughout your life, of course.
Sure.
Cats, dogs, and shit. Do you know how, like, a dog can sense the vibes in a room, or a cat can sense the vibes in a room?
Totally.
Where they're sitting there, they're like, like the people here are mean or something's going. I think because we're kind of like animals too, we know when we're somewhere that something's fucked up.
Right.
We know when something like, we went on this tour through, Alcatraz, and we felt uncomfortable all the time. And you're like, was that because men were raped and murdered and beat here all the time?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I believe in energy, to be fair, and the only reason I believe in energy is because the brain is made of electricity, and the electricity evaporates once the body dies. But how far does it go? Does the electricity stay in the same area? Stuff like that. So if somebody is horribly raped or brutally murdered at a spot, and you walk in that area and you suddenly get a cold rush up your arms, I believe that there's something there. There's something that's saying, maybe you shouldn't be standing in this spot.
Yeah, this isn't a nice place to be.
Right. Right.
I totally am down with that.
But I look at it more like a recording.
Right.
Like, it's a weird way to say it. I think of it more like a recording than, whoa, spooky ghost, I am the ghost of the girl raped in the well, whoa!
I don't know, though, because it's interesting to me, because I don't buy any of that shit for realsies. Right. But then you hear certain stories about places and things, and you go, I don't feel like these people could be lying. I don't distrust them, Right. Like, does anybody? Have you ever had a family member that said that they saw ghosts?
Oh yeah, plenty.
Yeah, you see, well, it was tough for me because my mom swore that the house that my grandmother owned, that we lived in for a while when we were a kid, was haunted. Which, by the way, I really appreciate her moving us into a haunted house, that bitch.
Right.
I was like, really? You moved us into a haunted house? But, she's told me crazy stories about how when she was a kid, she'd be, just, laying in bed, and she'd see like an Afghan kind of like float by her door. And she thought it was she thought it was my grandmother going to the bathroom, but then it never came back. And she'd hear noises and see shit move and just wild shit like that. But I don't know, man. I think the ghost thing is mostly instinct. I think it's just a feeling that people have. Like I said, something's fucked up. They know they're in a place where something bad happened. Grandpa died here. Somebody fucking passed away. Something horrendous happened,
To be fair, I think it's also something a little more primal. Like, you were kind of tapping into it, the fact that, we're also animals and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if, for the same reason that animals get freaked out, something that we hear, something that we smell, something that our conscious mind doesn't recognize or can't fucking logically explain, but our subconscious mind automatically initiates the fight or flight fucking reaction. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's like the people that, you always hear the stories where they're like, I got on the plane and then I said, I feel wrong, and I got off the plane and the plane crashed. Or my friend offered me a ride home, and then I felt like I shouldn't get in the car, and then the car flipped and everybody died. Everybody's heard those stories. I don't know. I think that people probably do somewhere within them have some sort of, I don't want to say it's like, there's no right way to say it. It's not psychic, but they get a feeling about something. They just know that it's not right, and then it plays out. Now, granted, in that situation, it's like, oh, my friend's been drinking Jello shots all day, or maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe I shouldn't go to that place because I know it's incredibly dangerous, and I won't go there, and then something bad happens.
Right.
But I think that's the closest thing to it. I think it's mostly because we still got that monkey brain floating around in our fucking big dumb heads, and there's something to be said about that.
Well, I mean, if you really want to get into it, isn't there with audio, apparently all of the brain waves of people run close to the same frequency. And it's like if you had a radio frequency, and I this is from a long time ago. I'm not even sure where in the fuck I pulled this up from, but old like mythos kind of bullshit. But if there's a way to hit the same frequency on all human beings, you could technically talk to every single human being on the planet at the same time if you could hit the right frequency.
Could you make them poop their pants?
I don't know, maybe, but you could at least talk to them. I mean, think about that. Think about entering everybody's head at the exact same time.
That's some wild shit.
Right.
Well, you know what? Why wouldn't we do nice things then?
Because
If you
we're
think
not
about
nice people. We're evil.
That's a good point. We'd probably run advertisements for McDonald's.
Damn right. We would fucking run a wrestling soup loop 24 hours a day, folks.
I just love the idea. I just love the idea of some guy sitting in like Uzbekistan getting a commercial for Egg McMuffins in English. He's just like, what is going on?
Wrestling soup, motherfuckers.
We all had a vision. We all heard the voice of a guinea with a deviated septum, mostly talking through his right nostril. We all heard it. That would be wild.
Yeah.
That's some crazy shit. I don't know though, but obviously Dana Warrior is.
Yeah, she's a little eccentric, huh?
I'd say so.
A little eccentric. Although, I mean, look at her husband.
Right.
He was a little eccentric himself.
Do you think like kids that experience this type of shit? Do you think that they can even be used as a source, like a 7 or a 9-year-old,
Sure.
like a 10-year-old? Really?
Yeah, it's you know what it is. It really depends on the child. I mean, you're gonna have children that cannot congregate logical thought.
Yeah,
And then
I
you're
feel
gonna
like
have
kids
some-
are so easily influenced in that sense, where like the mom could be like, "Did you hear that?" And they'd be like,
Depends on the kid, dude. I've run into 7 or 8-year-olds that were like little 20-year-olds. They
Yeah,
were just
that's
so
true, yeah.
down to earth and they understood. And then you meet 7 or 8-year-olds that you have to fucking peel off the wall because sugar.
But they're also in this, which is like the ultimate influence. You know, that's where it gets a little bit.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you're going to use them in a case study, absolutely you can use 7 or 8-year-olds. If you have a 7 or 8-year-old raised by fucking Jim Bob out in the woods, you know, and he's a nature's man and they fucking farm and hunt and shit like that together, chances are he's not socially coerced around him. You know what I mean? So therefore the social norms, he would feel. But at the same point, if you talk to him one-on-one, he would probably be the kid that would be the most logical, make the most sense, and be the most honest with you. Whereas you take another kid that's completely, you know, raised up with tons of other kids, put in a social environment and stuff like that, chances are they're going to embellish their story. Chances are they're going to make up shit because that's how they conduct themselves in those social groups. You know, in order to be popular and stuff like that, you must be the most amazing, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So that's how you kind of discern between different kids. So if you're making like a control group or something like that, you absolutely the coin. And then you find the ones in the middle. You know? So it's like, do I believe that there are ghosts? No. Because ghosts are like these spiritual entities of our former selves that are souls that still exist and have a purpose. And I can't go to heaven unless I figure out why I'm dead. You know, shit like that. No, fuck out of here. But do I believe that there are things that happen on the planet and stuff like that that leave electrical, like I guess you want to say pulses, that there are things that can happen in places that make people feel, you know, awkward or eerie and stuff like that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, I told you about me going to the insane asylum, right? I talked
No.
about that story before. Fuck yeah, I did. When we went, me and a couple of my friends went to the abandoned insane asylum.
Oh no, I've told you stories about the one that was around me, but no, I didn't know that you guys also went to one too.
Fuck yeah! We found meat hooks up on the fucking ceiling. We ran across, and I mean, this place was completely. This was right outside of where Charles Manson, or not Charles Manson. Wow, Manson. Fuck Gacy. Gacy got his kids. You know. So there was the school there where Gacy got his kids, which we went there too. But then there was an insane asylum. I think it was called Reed. I might be wrong. People can correct me on that. But it was over by Irving Park, right before Harlem. I think it was Reed. But anyways, back in the day, it was still up. And we went in there, and there was still electricity running in this place and stuff. Place windows smashed, straight jackets on the floor, brown liquid everywhere. Like it could have been shit. It could have blood. And I mean, me and like 5 other people are just breaking in because we're fucking asshole teenagers, and that's what you do as an asshole teenager. Waiting about 3 feet up, and nothing but this fucking muck, you know. And then we work our way up the stairs, and dude, it was straight out of a haunted house. It should have been a haunted house. By the time we got up to the top, there were these long chains hanging off of the broken roof. And at the end of the chains, there were these rusty hooks with this like fucking stale meat on it. We could never figure out what the fuck it was. And we just eventually bolted and got the fuck out of there. But I mean, you had chalkboards that were like, there were nails, like somebody scratched into the chalkboards and left nail prints in there and stuff. It was totally nightmare shit. But that's what we did. I think the Gacy school is a little worse though, because they still had the pool in the basement, and you could smell the pool rot because they let the water sit in there for so long. And once again, the city of Chicago, I think it was Chicago. It wasn't Harwood Heights. Might have been Harwood Heights, but whatever. The city of Chicago is still running all the electricity there. So it's like you go in these places and you got like one flickering light, you know. And it was just real fucking. It was scary as shit. And then the cops eventually saw us, or somebody reported us that, you know, there's kids running around that fucking school. And so we bolted the fuck out of there, and half of us got caught, and the other half didn't. You know.
Okay, here's a good question for you. You in Gacy's house for a year, but you get to fuck Mandy Rose once. Do you do it?
Sure.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, totally.
No.
See, I don't believe, but I don't believe in ghosts.
No, I just think that's too fucked up. It's too weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really, you could just hang out. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I used to hang out in cemeteries and shit. That doesn't bother me.
Oh,
I gotta remember, I used to. Fuck. Gothmish. Gothmish put a lot of notches on a lot of tombstones back in the day.
Oh my god. Love will turn.
Yeah. A lot of Baja songs waking up the dead. You know what I mean?
I'm seeing I would do it for bliss. Come on. I think it's, you know what? You want to talk about when people talk about polarizing? I find Mandy Rose to be oddly polarizing, where you'd think to yourself, most attractive woman, but I see guys being like, she's all right. I'm like, she's all right? She's just all right. And by the way, I'm not even usually into that like va-va-voom thing, but that's a goddamn good-looking woman.
Oh, people are really freaked out about the graveyard thing. Dude, yeah. Like, not only did we do it in a graveyard, the place I used to like going for, we went to Gompers, or better yet known in Chicago as La Ba. La Ba Woods is the place where all the Satanists...
Wait, what's the name again?
La Ba.
La Ba Woods?
Yeah, but it's...
Is that the name of a new basketball player?
He's got a mean layup, Joey.
Did he just get traded to the Raptors?
No, but it's called... There's Big Gomps and Little Gomps. And I don't even know if... it doesn't really exist. I mean, La Ba is still there, but I mean, everything's been so... When... All right. Let me fucking rewind the story. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, Labatt Woods, and even earlier than that, 80s and stuff like that, and 70s. Labatt Woods is where a lot of Satanists would go in order to perform ceremonies. So you would regularly go around the train tracks in Labatt Woods and go down off the side by the river, and you would see huge pentagrams, and there would be fucking blood on the rocks, and you would see fucking animal parts everywhere, and wax candles and shit like that. And some of the stuff was weak, and then there was other stuff that was like right underneath the bridge, where you would see like just massive amounts of blood just splattered everywhere. And this is where I hung out. This shit didn't bother me. This was Chicago. It's like, okay. I'm serious. And it's not even just that. There's people that listen to the show right now that used to hang out with me there. There's a couple people in this chat room right now that used to hang out with me there, and they know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So it's not just, oh, only Mitch did that shit. No, dude, there's tons of people that would do this. This was normal. In Chicago, this was fucking normal. People would do this shit.
Hey, guys, you want to get a dog, stop by the blood ceremony? Yeah, let's go do that.
Well, no, you'd fucking, you would dodge them. I
You dodged them?
Oh, yeah. No, you wouldn't want to fuck with the Satanists. Some of them, I mean, you had your fucking Hot Topic Satanists, which you just smacked. But then you had like these old motherfuckers. Like, you would find some 50-year-olds down there by the fucking river and shit like that. Old gray hair, withered and shit like that. And they're performing these fucking ceremonies, reading out of like the Necronomicon and everything else like that. So, I mean, there was fakes, totally fakes. And then there were the people that it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? And you wouldn't fuck with those people. Like, if you saw them, you would go the other way. And we did. We always did. We didn't fuck with that shit. You know, because if they're sacrificing babies and shit, which is what the rumors were, you know, there was a story I told before, long time ago, and I don't think you were on it. This is back in the days when Anon and Sal and everybody else were still in the chat room, and baby fingers. I found baby fingers once.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby's fingers, yes.
Oh. Baby's first fingers. Yes, I know that's
No, man, yeah, I know. But I mean, we found it. We were walking across the thing, and I kind of slid down the side. Like, so you go by the train tracks. The train tracks goes over the river and stuff like that. And on the side, you kind of slide down the rock and mud in order to get down to the base of the river. Well, I slid down there, and I hit an area, and I saw these little pink things. And I think at first I thought they were like for like a child, like a doll. And so I think I kicked it. And when I kicked it, it didn't move. Like it moved, but it didn't move like you would expect plastic to kind of just fly around. And so I went down and I touched it and I pulled it up because it wasn't in the water, but it was by the rocks and the mud and shit like that. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I like my brain snapped. And it's like, this is a human hand. This is a baby human hand. And I flung it, just fucking flung it immediately away from me.
Oh, God. You mean you didn't want a high five?
No, fuck that shit. Dude, I mean, look, I was used to the macabre, you know, to a point, but there's something that triggers inside of you when you know something is really fucked up. So no matter how dark you think you are, when you come face to face with something like that and you come to the realization of what you're doing, and in that moment I'm holding a human hand, you know, and not even a human's hand, like a baby's hand. I didn't go to Labatt after that. That was the last time I went to Labatt. Actually, no, I lie. I went there one more time, but I didn't go to the train tracks of the river. That was it.
That was the end of your. That was the end of your trips there. Yeah, can't say I blame you.
Right? I mean, look, dude. I've seen some horrible shit over the years. I've had guns pointed at me, but the baby's hand is always. It's the one that still sticks in my head. It'll make its way into a nightmare. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. That poor baby never even got to see John Cena win his 16th fucking championship.
Right.
That's
dude,
really the
come
true
on.
tragedy.
People are saying, any cops listening? I didn't. What was I supposed to do? Take the baby's hand with me to the precinct? You know what I mean? I didn't know what the fuck to do. You're talking about 19, 20. You know? I wasn't fucking. I didn't have no clear head on this shit. It scared the fuck out of me.
Well, it'd be pretty confusing if it didn't.
Right.
If you were like, yeah, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, and that was what you were doing, I'd be like, Mesh, I think you really need to go through therapy.
No, but I mean, before that and stuff like that, I'd constantly hang out at the cemetery, and me and girls would fuck and shit like that, and me and friends we'd get drunk and fucking play music. We'd go see somebody with a torch, and then we'd fucking get the fuck out of there, because anytime you saw torches, you saw the Satanists. And they were like goddamn fucking like, oh, like that kind of shit. The torches, I shit you not. But LaBagh Woods, basically what happened was, after a while, gentrification moved in, and Section 8 housing and everything else like that, and all these condos pretty much ripped up the cemetery, ripped up LaBagh, so that doesn't even really exist anymore. It's all condos. I mean, there's a forest there still, but...
Man, and fucking people in gentrification, ruining places. This is a nice place for people to worship Satan and murder babies. More, just more of these goddamn white people moving in and destroying a neighborhood. Perfectly good for blood sacrifices and baby dismemberments.
Right.
Ridiculous. Jesus Christ, guys. It's sad. It's sad that this is... What America?
Wait a minute. You can't fucking throw this on me. You can't even get close. Motherfucker, Salem, Massachusetts.
Hey, we have nothing's happened here in a long time.
Oh, okay. But since the 90s, you're telling me nothing's happened in Salem, Massachusetts? You don't have a bunch of fucking crazy Wicca bitches sacrificing bunnies and babies and God knows what else, having crazy sex parties with fire and goats' heads and shit in the woods?
Well, I mean, I wasn't invited. Clearly, I didn't even... Jesus Christ, I figured I would be the first one invited there.
Salem, Massachusetts is the mecca in this whole fucking country for behavior like that. For negative witch-related behaviors. Systemic witch behaviors. Oh, shit.
I've had enough of this terrible witch-like behavior here in this. Oh God! Oh my God, dude! I don't fucking. I can't even wrap my head around that. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah, I swore we talked about this once before.
No, I would remember. I was running through the woods and there was a baby hand. Well, I don't have the best memory, as I stated earlier in the show, but I have a good enough memory to remember baby hands.
I think Mad Max was there too. I mean, not actually there with me, but I mean, I think he was there when we were talking about it first.
Mad Max was there. Jesus, at least he wouldn't have had to see the hand. Poor Mad Max.
Oh,
you're sitting there like it's a finger. He's like, well, what it looks like peanut M&Ms to me.
Are those the new sour Skittles? Nope.
No, you don't want anything to do with these, buddy.
Are those new Bright Side Skittles? Nope.
For those that don't know, Mad Max is vision impaired.
Yes.
Yes, and in this case, it would actually be a gift for him to not be able to see that.
But no, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't. I just don't. I do believe in weird energies, like bad things happen. And they kind of like leave their scent. Because that's what I think it really is. It's energy from electricity from the brain and scents. Like not, SENSE, but SCENTS.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, why not? I mean, if animals are big on smells and they can pick up on shit like that, why couldn't we?
Right. Sure.
Yeah. I know, I'm right there with you. I know what you're saying. I don't know, man. I'd have to say that I've never had a ghostly experience, though.
Really?
I have. Oh, I never had anything crazy like that.
Oh yeah.
No hauntings.
Did you go looking for it though?
Oh yeah, dude, I've been in some wild places.
Like?
I've been out in the woods, dude. Okay, the woods in this area. You want to talk about places where some crazy shit's happened? At least from back in the day. You know, the fucking Revolutionary War was up here.
Right.
Motherfuckers were getting their heads chopped. Indians were getting murdered by the bundle, burned and decapitated. There's wacky shit all over the place here.
Yeah.
And I've been in these places late at night. I've been in crazy, oh, this is a haunted, area of the beach. And I've been there and I'm like, anybody have anything to eat? Like, I'm like, anybody bring beer? Like, that's my reaction to being at the beach. No, I'm not. I'm not like that. I guess the ghosts don't come looking for me.
Right.
God damn it. That's unfortunate, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always figured being up in Massachusetts, you guys are very much like there's a book. I have a couple books and stuff like that talk about hauntings and stuff in Illinois and Chicago, and there's like cities that don't exist here in Illinois that have magically disappeared and been swallowed up by the nothingness, that people have recorded history on, but nobody knows what happened to them. And there's plenty of places in Illinois, even my grandparents are buried at Graceland, which is one of the most haunted cemeteries in Chicago. But that's because it's one of the oldest. It still has people inside Graceland from before the Great Fire. So there's connections there and stuff like that. But when I always think of Massachusetts, I literally always think of just one giant state full of nothing but those kind of people.
Oh, like crazy? Nah, we don't get a lot of those spooky folk. We don't have a ton. For Salem, for sure. Salem, for sure, still got them. But once again, anywhere that's relatively nice that's in the state of Massachusetts is immediately taken over, or should I say gradually taken over, by people that just have money anyways. So anything that once was like, oh, there's character and shit, it eventually just becomes a pompous restaurant that sells artisan food. That's what it's become. I love living here. It's super nice. It's safe. It's for the most part, it's the right pace for me. If it's too slow, I feel uncomfortable. If it's breakneck speed like New York City, I would probably have a fucking heart attack. But it's no, it's not like where it was. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, you would feel like, oh, it's a wild, spooky place. To describe the difference between Salem now and what Salem was 20 years ago, Salem 20 years ago, if you went to Halloween, it would be legit goths walking around in the streets with the fucking crazy face paint, corpse paint and shit.
Sure.
Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens when you go to Salem now on Halloween? It's done by 9 o'clock at night, and there's a lot of people dressed like Hocus Pocus. Which I liked Hocus Pocus, but it doesn't really exactly strike fear. Here comes Bette Midler.
Samantha, you're such a whore.
So if you have a real big fear of Bette Midler, then yeah, that's basically what you're getting. Yeah, it's touristy now, man. It's just it's still awesome. I love it there. That's where I graduated from